Paralives is giving us a walkable open world to explore, and of course, with all simulation games, you're gonna have a chance to interact with other characters. So the question is, just how much autonomy are other parafolk actually gonna have? In my continued series of videos of Paralives dev chats leading up to early access, I want to provide as much information as possible, and of course, I know people are particularly interested and concerned about the gameplay. And as such, today we're going to go over just a few key details so you know what to expect when it comes to townies. All in all, I think they do have a good idea going forward, but there are definitely some limitations too. Let's start with a more functional concern. As you know, many simulation games just generate townies randomly, and while this can be interesting in terms of variety, it can also lead to some game performance concerns. So this person asked, will there be a way to stop additional townies or remade characters from spawning? If I wanted to populate the world with only my own paras and stop other paras from being generated, for example? The answer is, when parafolks pass on, we will need to have someone new move into their house. And we will need to have characters in businesses and public lots to make the whole thing feel lively. So I'm not sure if we would have an option to disable characters spawning into the world. You might be able to control the pool of characters via the mod system, but it most probably won't be a simple on-off button. Now honestly, I think this is a pretty reasonable answer. Having an on-off button might be actually pretty complicated. It almost sounds like townies are only going to spawn when they're actually needed. If I am interpreting that correctly, that would actually be excellent. However, of course, there is a huge caveat. The huge caveat, of course, is there is not currently any story progression, and I assume when you get story progression, of course, you're going to get more spawning. While I definitely do want them to have story progression, that is just a key to note, because if there's story progression, they're going to have children, etc. But for now, it does sound like a reasonable system if I am interpreting it correctly. But moving on past those functional concerns, I want to talk all about autonomy. And a lot of this might change as we go through the process, and what we get in early access right away might not be the end result. First, a general question about how autonomy systems work. I don't know if this has been asked yet, but in other simulation games, when you get married or have a baby, we often have to control them as well. Sometimes that gets overwhelming if I just want to focus on one character at a time. Will there be an option to toggle parafolk autonomy? Anna says, for now, there is an option to toggle autonomy of your selected parafolk, as well as a second option to toggle autonomy of other characters in your household. So this is honestly more about the household. We will get to townies in a moment, but I did think this was important to include. She also notes they might make changes to the autonomy system before early access, but they think these general options will stay. We are going to move on beyond the household and talk about the broader world. And from my limited understanding, it seems to me that townie autonomy in the world is based upon two primary principles: townie initiatives and also those together cards. The first question though is all about those townie initiatives. Hey devs, chats and Patreon today made me wonder about townie initiatives such as the job offer we saw in the gameplay trailer. What kind of initiatives will NPCs be able to take? And the answer is, because of our together card system has been reworked since that video, NPC initiatives are still being worked on, but they could include things that are important that you can accept or refuse. These include a job, romantic interactions, or lending you money. And of course other aspects too, such as giving you a snack if you're hungry, or a new perk if the NPC is your coworker. So I do wish I could give you more details on this. I will assume they are way further on this when they last answered this, but in short, they are thinking of lots of different initiatives that can make the town more lively. Again, this all comes back to the together card system, and I feel like this card system is unique, but it also has a lot weighing on it. That is, the weight of interactions and unexpected things happening really come down to this card system, and so it's hard to judge until I really see it work because it's just something a bit different. However, that said, there is still a discrepancy between initiatives and together cards. That's because only player-controlled parafolks can actually use the together cards. Meanwhile, NPCs can have initiatives, as they've shown in the videos, when they are in a group with you, and you can choose how you will react. But having NPCs interact with each other is part of advanced autonomy or story progression, so that will come later down the line. As I've expressed before, I think them adding story progression for early access is really better. I do know I'm not the developer, and it definitely is their choice, and I'm not saying we have to have everything in the game right away. My concern is this is a core part of a life simulation game, at least for me, and so having it missing is going to feel a little bit empty. So in short, there could be some interesting things that happen to you. However, it's more about you interacting directly with others, and you're not really going to see this happening outside of your control. You get to decide how you react to these together cards, and other NPCs aren't going to be interacting with each other in meaningful ways. At least that is how I interpret it. Again, I do think the together card system is really interesting. I think there are some really great ideas. I just really feel it's missing that part of the core component. The good news is they do plan to at least add it at some points later on, and so I do hope they actually do so, and that does end up well. Along those lines, even though I don't know how to feel about everything, one aspect that is pretty interesting is that the together cards are customizable. There is so much in the game that is completely customizable, from together cards to actions to needs and more. It depends if you mean moddable or customizable from the player's side of things. So obviously we don't have lots of details here. The fact that you can customize some of these aspects is highly interesting. Now, what will customizing together cards actually mean? I actually don't know, and I am excited to see that option. All in all, they definitely are focused on letting us customize lots in this game, and if nothing else, Paralives sounds like it's going to be a very flexible game. With this, I could see a lot of enhancements to the experience by customization alone. One aspect though we cannot expect is townies probably aren't going to cause very much trouble. Someone asked if we could actually get theft in the game or a criminal career. Jeremy answered, "This is not planned at the time. We have to first finish our core of important interactions in careers that most people enjoy before thinking about more niche gameplay experiences." I definitely understand this. I understand not having a criminal career, but it would be pretty fun if we could have some theft and some mayhem going on too. After all, Paralives does strike me as a very cozy game and relaxing. In its overall tone, I still would love to have some of these opportunities in the future. I just think adding some complexity and some conflict would really go a long way. And finally, we do have a note about technology and autonomy. Paralives team said that cell phones aren't going to be super present, and it isn't going to be a constant interaction, which I have to say from playing Sims 4, I would highly welcome that. However, we do have just another answer that I find kind of interesting. Right now, says Anna, there's really not a specific way to deal with autonomous interactions that are linked to technology. All the autonomous interactions will depend on your character's personality and context. If the autonomy is on, your characters will try to find something to do if they have nothing in their queue, like doing one of their hobbies if they have one, or talking to someone. Also, we try to avoid repeated patterns that your player doesn't want by considering the interactions that have been done multiple times recently. For example, if a character went on their phone recently, they aren't going to keep doing that. This last answer is really great. If they can actually live up to this promise right here, this sounds really good. This sounds like they would be actually somewhat intelligent, and it would be more interesting to see their interactions. Having personality play a big role, and also keeping in mind repetitive actions, all add to better autonomy as a whole. I really hope they can stick to this because this is challenging, but it is going to make the game, in my opinion, feel so much more immersive. All in all, it sounds like they have lots of good ideas for individual levels of autonomy, but it also sounds like overall townie and NPCs in the world aren't quite figured out yet. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. As always, thanks so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.